In the previous model, we spoke about what affinity mapping is. And affinity mapping basically is to help us unify large amounts of data and find relationship between those data into the ideas and concepts. So affinity mapping helps I find the relationship between ideas and concepts. As we all know by this time, affinity mapping allows you to organize facts and opinions into taxonomies, which we'll talk about, in order to help you diagnose complex problems and also identify common issues or trends. We spoke about how affinity mapping is done, and we outlined 5 ways. So the first way is to gather your thoughts through sticky notes. The second one is to cluster similar thoughts. The third is to name the clusters. The fourth is to step back and iterate and look for additional information that suits a particular cluster you want. So it's about iterating around the issues you want to add. And the final one is to create a statement of what you learned about each cluster. In this particular model, we will look at an affinity mapping template and go through the thought process of how to create one. First of all, let's talk about the process. In gathering your thoughts, it's advisable to place your thoughts on sticky notes. So after gathering your data, as you can see here in this particular animation, you can see that I have placed individual issues on sticky notes. So in this way, I am documenting all my issues. The second step is to cluster similar thoughts. In clustering similar thoughts, it is important to create sections in which you can put thoughts into one part. So over here, you can see that I have created a section where I have put related thoughts into 4 different sections. The next part is to name your cluster. As you can see here, I have been able to name my clusters into 4 different parts. I have a cluster called support, I have a cluster called UX test, I have a cluster called feature request, and I have a cluster called bugs and fixes. So here you can see that I have been able to create issues or create data points around these particular things, which makes it very easy to place other similar issues so that it helps with brainstorming. After naming your cluster, it is important to go back and iterate with the first, second, and third processes. You'll be able to get a general understanding of the data you have collected, and in that way, this will help you to get a general statement on each cluster. So in summary, we learned that affinity mapping enables us to synthesize this data, which is gathered from various sources, into a single organized whiteboard, which facilitates the extraction of valuable insight. In the next part, we will do the demonstration on how to create an affinity map. As you can see, the tool that we are using for this affinity map is called Miro. Miro is a free tool that has a lot of templates that enables you to create affinity maps or any other UX/UI design research tool. In the first part, we said we have to gather data or gather our thought. So over here, we brainstorm and create a particular issue that we are facing around user personalization. So we will place the descriptions around this particular box and also have reference materials to it. After gathering all the information we need, after getting all the information with this description, we will gather all the information into data points where we will put everything into our digital sticky note. This particular sticky note helps us to categorize all this information. So after gathering all the data into a sticky note, we will be able to group all the data into teams. That allows us to create meaning out of our data. So over here, you can see that we have different themes which are around customization, flexibility, and the workflow that we want. After we are done, we define all the data points or themes that gotten. In this final part, we have been able to get all the data points and created themes around them. We can also go back to iterate to see whether there are additional data points that we can add to make sure that we cover the user design journey. After creating all these things, it is time for us to prioritize our tasks. Over here, we create priorities for which particular tasks will be visited first to make sure that we have an overall flow of how our tasks will be executed. On that note, this is a general overview of how we perform affinity mapping. Thank you very much and hope to see you in the next model. Bye.